The Justice Department has had it with the special master review process in the Trump Mar-a-Lago documents case. It's now officially moving to shut the whole thing down, asking an appeals court to just put an end to it. This after Judge Aileen Cannon, who appointed special master Raymond Dearie, has stepped in to overrule him on a couple of issues, including extending the timeline of the review. The DOJ says now that Cannon had no jurisdiction to take the case in the first place. Quote, the district court itself acknowledged that there has been no showing that the government acted in callous disregard of plaintiffs' rights, which is typically the standard for a judge to step in at this stage of the proceedings. The DOJ says that on the very issues the special master is supposed to be assessing, Trump never claimed attorney-client privilege until asking for the special master, and that Trump shouldn't be allowed to claim executive privilege over any of the documents. The DOJ argues it needs total access, unfettered, to all the records as part of its wider criminal inquiry into how the documents were kept and stored and obstruction, including, quote, the government may need to use unclassified records to conduct witness interviews and corroborate information. Now, based on this appeals court's previous decision overruling Judge Cannon and allowing the DOJ to restart their review of the classified documents, the DOJ may have a pretty good chance here. Remember, this 11th Circuit panel, which out of the 3 judges included 2 Trump appointees, essentially ridiculed Cannon's legal arguments. So, is this the beginning of the end of the special master? Joining me now is someone who knows this appellate court well. He's worked there, Michael J. Moore, former United States Attorney for the Middle District of Georgia. Michael, welcome back to the show. Appreciate it. All right, so do you think that the appeals court here is likely to say, goodbye, done with this whole special master process?
You know, well, I'm glad to be with you. I really think at this point they probably will do that. They seem to indicate initially with the intermediate decision that came out that they were not too fond of what was going on. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to see them say that there was nothing here nefarious, no malfeasance in the issuance of the search warrant, and no problems there. To me, the issue is that, you know, in fact, the special master could be important. And I'll be surprised if the point does not get raised that, in fact, during the review process, we know from, reporting that they have found some things that they've set aside as potentially privileged material. And so this is going to be a case that's not going to be a short answer. It's going to drag on as they talk about whether or not executive privilege applies to these documents, whether or not there's a classification process or a declassification process that has to be followed. This is sort of just the first step. This was a civil filing. There is no active indictment against the president. So right. This is not in the criminal case. So these arguments can be raised again if and when he's ever indicted.
It seems to me that the 11th Circuit gave us a hint here when they agreed to expedite the process, right? They didn't need to expedite this appeal. They could have said, you go on the regular standard, get in the regular wheel. Things take a long time here, but they agreed to expedite it, meaning they agreed to do this one faster, which suggests to me that they're likely going to rule in DOJ's favor.
Well, it is, but let me throw one other thing into the mix, and that is at any time in a government investigation, especially in front of a court, that you use the magic words national security.
Yeah.
Anytime the government or anyone else has said this could be a matter affecting our national security, then you can see cases expedited and processes quickened a good bit to get to the heart of the matter.
Donald Trump is obligated to pay for this special master, right? I mean, he gets the bill. So let's assume that the 11th Circuit steps in, says, all right, done, special master finished. Trump's team still stuck with the bill?
I think it's likely so, and that's part of the order that he was to pay for the special master. So certainly they're not going to let the judge up north go without getting paid in the case, or the process go without having adequate payment. The judge is actually serving right now, but that the cost incurred rather that would need to be paid. I just hope they have better luck collecting the payment than some of the other folks that Trump wanted to pay have. But I think it's likely that part would stay in place.
Yeah. All right. We shall see what happens here. But this is, look, I think that it is likely that this is going to end the special master process. I think that it is likely this investigation is going to speed up. And as I've said before, you and I were both some of the folks who were saying people need to slow down with all this Trump indictment stuff. We both didn't believe that there was necessarily going to be an indictment. I've shifted now, and I now do believe that there will be an indictment in connection with the documents and the documents only, and you're still on the fence.
I'm still on the fence a little bit. I think it becomes a little more likely, but it's such a big step to indict a former president, especially talking about elections, that I think that's going to play into it. Doesn't mean that he shouldn't be indicted. Doesn't mean he won't be. I just think that the decision is.
I completely agree. And anyone who says he needs to be treated like anybody else, my response is nobody else could have had these documents. Anyway, Michael J. Moore, thank you. That does it for us tonight. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.